And as I was saying about that case of Sara Lucy Bagby, it's a very interesting case. Lucy Bagby was a fugitive who first made her way to Pittsburgh, and then thinking, oh, okay, this is too close. I better get away and get to Cleveland. She made her way to Cleveland. And she lived here, and she was, for a while, as a free woman, and she was working and living, as I said, with under the protection of Mr. Ambush. And so but she was discovered. Slave catching was very remunerative in those days. I mean, that was a business in and of itself, to look around and find fugitives. And she was discovered. And when the slave catcher checked with her owner said, yes, I want her back. She was captured. You only had to prove two things, really. That she was, in fact, Lucy Bagby, and she never denied who she was. Oh, and that she had been owned by, and so Mr. Goshorn, there was a trial here in Cleveland, and then, and as of now, the Cleveland Plain Dealer was a Democrat paper, and of course the Democrat Party was very much for slavery, and some of what they printed, the leader newspaper at that time was against slavery. They're no longer in existence. But some of the language, Cleveland no longer a Congo city, when she was tried. And she was tried in front of Judge Daniel Tilden, who himself had been an anti-slavery man when he served in Congress and afterwards. But the dilemma at that time, you have to kind of go back and feel what those people were feeling. The southern states had already indicated a willingness to secede from the Union on the issue of slavery. And the way that the issue was framed was, will you obey the federal law? Will you remain members of the United States in obedience to the federal law? Well, if you're going to demand that of the South, Judge Tilden felt that he had to show that he was also going to obey the federal law. And the federal law was clear. If she's a fugitive, she's got to go back to her slave owner. So she was, in fact...
Go ahead. I said a question when you're done. ...to her slave owner. But she didn't stay there long. Shortly after she was returned, the war broke out. And that area was one of the first areas captured by the North. She married one of the soldiers who helped free her, and they moved back to Cleveland, where she lived, and she is buried in our cemetery here in Cleveland. So, did the individual slave owners fund the slave catchers, or was there an organization of them or someone that was paying?
You would be paid by the owner. If you brought his slave back to you, you would be paid by the owner. And again, slaves are valuable property. I mean, you have a whole life of work, free work, and you paid money for that person. And so economically, it was probably the thing to do to make money.
Pardon me, ma'am. Where was she at? Where was the slave owner's home?
Here it is in Wheeling, Virginia. Now that would be called, that's West Virginia today. Yeah. But that's where she was.
Was there any kind of work that she did that was so valuable as to why they were after her, or?
Oh no, she was just valuable. I'm not aware. There might be more to the story about what she was able to do that I'm not aware of. But there's value in and of itself if you've got an able-bodied human being of a certain age, and you've got a lifetime of forced labor from that person.
Sorry, my sister was calling me. I'll be back.
This is an article that was written about that, and that tells, at the time, I like to look at this last paragraph, a poem that was written by a black woman about this whole case. And she says, "And your guilty, sin-stressed union shall be shaken to its base till you learn the simple justice is the right of every race." And, you know, a little different from the prose we get in the newspapers today.